Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
All right, sister. Very, very important message to talk about today as I drive home from dropping off my kids at the last day of school for this school year. Very exciting day for them. And you know what? Like, really, these are the words that I also tell my kids. And I want you to hear this today. Like, I really want you to hear this episode today. And feel free to listen to this a bunch of times. And there's going to be a piece of you that's also going to resist this message, because it kind of goes against the grain of what society tells us as women that we're supposed to be, which is a martyr and self-sacrificing and putting our needs aside. And aren't we so great for our children and for our husbands and our partners and our family and our friends, and forsaking above everything else, just putting all of our stuff aside. And it's time to bury that shit. It is time, because whether you're a woman listening to this and can resonate with all this right now, or men, because we have some men who listen to the podcast as well, you need to be your number one. You need to be your number one. You need to love yourself more than anyone else in the world. And, you know, if you're married or you're with a partner or you have children, you know, that's going to feel like a disjointed, like, well, what do you mean? I love my kids more than anything in the world. No, you need to love yourself. You need to love yourself more than anyone on this fucking planet. You. Loving yourself. Now, you might hear this on a very superficial level and be like, hey, Karen, I love myself. No, more than anybody else. You need to be your own number one. You really, really do. And we've all heard this before of, you know, if you don't love yourself, you don't know how to love others. But there is like a very deep truth to that. You cannot love other people if you do not love yourself in a way that's healthy, in a way that's not about your stories, in a way that's not attached to conditions, in a way that's it's not a mature love. It's not like a love that is pure and real. Yeah. You need to be your own. You need to be the number one in your life. The number one. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't have responsibilities or you're also caring for your family, your husband, your children, your business, your, you know, other people in your family. Like, as women, as nurturers, this again goes against a lot of the grain. It's a lot of our biology as well too, and who we are, and that feminine is to nurture and to care. But we can't do that if we don't nurture and care for ourselves. This ain't about getting your nails done, sister. It isn't. We're going to count those things as just like regular tasks. This whole thing of making those things like a treat. I mean, it's fine, I guess, you know, if that's the way that you choose to see it. But I mean, you know, to me, that's kind of like taking care of your physical appearance in those ways is like saying, oh, it's a treat for me to get my teeth clean. Like, it's something that you do, right, to care for yourself. So I'm not talking about that. And you should still do that. And if you want to treat that as special kind of days and, you know, maybe something you do with friends or whatever, like, great. Special spa day or something, awesome. But that's not what I mean about loving yourself. That is just simply an action that you take to, you know, feel good or to feel more beautiful on a certain day for a certain period of time. Like, it's not about that. This is about really loving yourself despite your flaws, loving yourself despite the choices that you made that maybe didn't get you to a place that you really wanted to. Being able to love yourself enough to forgive yourself and let go. Forgiveness is about forgiving yourself, by the way. It's never about the other person. It is about the other person, but the forgiveness is really for you. It is for you. Like, when you then forgive and let go of that other person, you are allowing yourself to be free of that. You make yourself the number one most important person in your life. Maybe we'll call this episode, You Are Your Own VIP. I don't know, that sounds super cheesy. Be your number one. Be your number one. Love yourself more than anybody else. Know that and listen, it doesn't mean that you love, others like, this is a hard one, right? It's a hard one to kind of talk about because it's going to sound like a bit of a paradox saying like, don't love others less than you, but like, you need to be the one out front. Like, you just fucking need to be. It is that simple, sister. It is that simple. And you know our kids are taught in school about having their bucket and how, people being kind fills up their bucket. When they're kind to other people, it fills up their bucket. Like, we understand this whole caring for ourselves, that we can't serve and care from that empty bucket. If we deplete our energy, if we don't care for ourselves, if we hold on to toxicity and feelings, if we, don't create boundaries in our life in a loving way with others so that we're cared for and we protect ourselves in a loving way, not in a numbing or a hiding or anything like that, right? If we're not clear in our communication, if we're not clear on the things that we really want within our life, if we're not kind to ourselves, for crying out loud, if we don't give ourselves grace, if we give ourselves grace the same way that we give other people grace. Like, we are literally, as I had someone say to me a while back, our own best friend. That's a hard thing because we often look for that validation and that love and that affirmation and that acknowledgement from others. And there are other important people in your life that should be fucking doing that stuff. I get that. I hear that. And that's lovely when they do. But what if they don't? What if they don't? Is your worth going to be tied in to what is happening outside of you? And you might go, yeah, but the things that I accomplish and the relationships in my life and, how I look physically or my health, like all of these things affect my worth. And I get that. But the thing is like, it cannot be, that can be a teeny piece of it. So you can go like, man, I really feel my worthiness when I like rock this certain dress and I just feel fucking amazing in it, right? Or I feel really worthy when I've done something amazing in business, or I've created something, or I've done something for another. Like, I really feel worthy and, important. Like, things matter. I matter. And that's amazing. But if you don't have those things, right, when the chips fucking fall and you are just with you need to know how to land on your feet and stay in your worthiness despite the stuff that is happening around you or with other people in your life. You need to be the person in your life that you love the absolute most. And you can for sure have that bucket filled up by the love, the care, the concern, the acknowledgement, the validation, the affirmation of other important people in your life. But you can't have it be the sole place that it comes from. Do you feel me, sister? It needs to come from within. And again, you can hear this on a level that's just like yeah, Karen, like, yeah, right on, you're speaking my language, like, I need to hear this today, yeah. And that's fine. And then you can also hear this really deeply. And you can listen to this another time, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 15. Whatever it takes for you to really understand and to own that you need to love yourself most in your life. You need to be the number one. You need to be the number one. So, more tip for today is this, sister. I want you to open up your journal. Because here's the thing, and this is going to be a tricky one for you, potentially. Most likely. Okay, open up your journal, and at the top you're going to write, what I love about myself the most is, and write down all sorts of reasons of why you love yourself. Now, you might stare at that blank piece of paper with that what I love about myself is ... and just stare at it. And think of all the things that you don't love. It's so interesting, right? I know when I have women that apply to coach with me, and I will ask them, like, what is it that you truly want? And they'll be like, well, I'll tell you what I don't want. I don't want this with my kids. I don't want this with my husband. I don't want, the extra weight. I don't want all these, like, challenges in my business. There'll be, like, a laundry list. Okay, a laundry list of all the things you don't want. It's like, okay, great. Really clear on the don't want. What's the do want? And it's like crickets. They have a hard time going to that place. And we live in a society that really kind of, it's this, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like a mob consciousness. I don't mean the mob, but like a mob of people. Like, it's like the consciousness in society to talk about all the things that fucking suck. And to go, oh yeah, I'm grateful when things are really great, and not really understanding what true gratitude is. Like being grateful no matter what for the one thing in your life that is okay. Like the sun came out today. There's breath in my body even when you're in the shit. So there is a mentality in our society to really focus on all the lack, right? Real scarcity. That is the most, common way of being and seeing the world, is to see it in lack, what you don't have. And so you might approach this this exercise, and it's a struggle for you, but I'm gonna challenge you to stay in it. Look at that blank page and hold your hands over your heart if you need to say what I love about myself is, and start making that list. Because, sister, I have talked to so many women over the years, even in practice as a chiropractor. We're so hard on ourselves. We feel it's our responsibility to take all the blame for stuff, and that we need to give of ourselves until our bucket is completely empty. And I'm telling you, that needs to stop. There needs to be this uprising of worthiness within women, of understanding that we matter more than everybody else. This is for men listening too, by the way, right? Of you being your own number one. So, what I love about myself most is, and start writing in your journal. And just free write. Page if you want to, just keep going. You might find you get really emotional with this. But this is something that, you could bypass and go, I'll do that later. But I'm going to really, like, this is a big one for you today, sister. This is a really big one. And listen, like, this piece of worthiness and really understanding a lot of the program that we're just running on, right? This subconscious programming you've heard me talk about in a lot of other recent podcast episodes, of just that 95% of we're just running these patterns and experiences of what we've been taught, what we've seen, that we're not even really aware that we're going through. So talking about worthiness and really knowing how to claim this, to have the tools to do that, to have the tools and the plan on how to really, like, get yourself out of just spinning around in circles in that subconscious programming that you don't even know is going on, right? You can't see when you're within it. And to really understand the power that you have being in your feminine and what that really means. And so right now there are 2 spots left for my summer one-on-one coaching program. And this is really for women that are at a crisis. If you're at a crisis right now, you're at a crossroads, you're like, fuck, this stuff is happening, Karen. I've tried all these things. I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I need help. I'm tired of this. I need to be moving forward. I just don't know how to do it. I'm trying. I really want it, right? And you're ready to invest in yourself to really do that. So if you would like to apply, if that is you, and you're like, yeah, I got to work on worthiness, Karen. Yes, I got to understand, what does it mean to be a woman? And what is this feminine thing? Like, I just don't feel that way. How do I be that? How do I become that? How do I embody that? And I'm aware of, I'm kind of cycling in these loops of experiences in my life, and they just look a little different, but it's the same kind of stuff. Like, how do I get out of that? Then here's what you need to do to apply, because yes, it's by application, for the final 2 spots for my summer one-on-one coaching program. Send me an email, drkarenosburn@gmail.com. So drkarenosburn@gmail.com, and say, Karen, I'd like to apply for one of the 2 final spots, and I will let you know the next step from there. These are going to go quickly. It's the end of June right now, so this will roll into September as well, because this will be over 3 months. And, it's amazing that being able to work with women at this intensity that I am, of literally having me in your back pocket, of like, Karen, can we hop on a call? I know we don't have a weekly call until like 3 days, but this is coming up. Or to be able to message back and forth and to help you through experiences so that you can really move through and clearly have something tangible at the end of those 90 days of like, this is the main thing in my life. This is the intention. This is where I need the tools to really help me move through this. And this is what I'm excited to do at this level with 2 more women for this summer. So email me, drkarenosborne@gmail.com. Say I'd like to apply, and we will take it from there. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more is one step away from understanding that you need to be your number one every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.